Welcome back to an episode of Let's Build Twitter. We're in episode 134. As always, if you guys do want access to that private repository, there's a video in the description down below that'll walk you through exactly how to do that. As well as if you do want to see me working on this live, I am live streaming just about every Tuesday and Thursday around 9 p.m. Central Time, so come hang out. Also want to go ahead and mention that sorry if the quality is a little bit different and the audio is a little bit off. I forgot to hit record, so I'm working with the raw stream here instead of the different tracks. So unfortunately, that's just what I have to work with. So let's go ahead and hop into what we work on today. In this episode, we work on the scheduled date modal by setting up the calendar pop-up to select the date. Then we go ahead and look into getting a JSON for all of the emojis. That way we can go ahead and select one in later episodes. As always, I'm Ethan Coding, and let's hop straight into development. Today, we're going to be working on getting this schedule post thing done. So the last thing we need to do is we need to figure out how to, one, this needs to be a cursor pointer, but we can deal with that. Whenever we pop up this, it needs to go down below. I don't exactly remember how Twitter does it, but I can actually take a peek really quick. So it pops up right above in the middle. So obviously this is not where it's supposed to go. We might also look into adjusting this guy so it kind of cuts off a little bit smaller. And then finally, we need to also figure out how to get the actual date from here. But again, that shouldn't be too bad. So let's hop into our code. So I believe that there is a date selector. So let's go ahead and grab this date selector, copy it. Let's go ahead and go into our CSS and we'll say # date selector. And we're going to go ahead and say position. And they have absolute on this. So we're going to say left is 0. We're going to say top is 0. And then they also have width 100% for some reason. So that'll be interesting. They have height 100%. We'll see how this ends up working out. And then obviously opacity 0. So this one I don't think we need to worry about, just because we don't need to worry about it because we already have it hidden, but it is what it is. They have cursor pointer. Not sure we need that either. And then box sizing, they have border box. Again, I don't think we need all of that. What we do need is we do need the # date selector again. And I'm just doing this to see if we can get to work. And this is -webkit -calendar, calendar -picker -indicator. So it doesn't pop up, but it shows up here. And I'm going to go ahead and copy paste this to make sure I do in fact spell this indicator right, because I can see myself accidentally spelling this wrong. Okay, so now what he has is position absolute again, and then left 0, top 0. I don't know why they have width 100% for this, but hopefully it works. Width 100%, height 100%. We might have to make some changes. Margin 0, padding 0, and finally they have cursor pointer again. So let's see if that actually does anything. If we click on it, it's still in the top left corner, so that did absolutely nothing. So what if we do this? So let's come back into here. What if we turn off hidden? So if we take off hidden here, we have opacity 0. What does this look like? Let it compile real quick. Let's refresh. Whoops. So now we have opacity 0. So that's definitely different. So that's a little bit better. So I think if we actually move stuff around here, maybe we can get to work. So let's go ahead and do some tweaks here. Let's try left 50% here, 50%, and let's see what this looks like. So now let's go ahead. Okay, so that definitely moved it. So let's try 85. I'm just trying out a couple of different things here. Eventually we'll get this. Okay, I think we could probably live with 85. And then top, let's say 25%, and let's just see what this looks like. Okay, definitely needs to come down a little bit, maybe 50%. Needs to come down more. So we need to do like 82% or something. Okay, I think that's about right. 82%, be like 65%. 65%. Hey, I think that looks like Twitter. That's what we want. Okay, so now I just need to figure out how the heck to get the information out of here, and I'm sure it's probably easy. I'm gonna go ahead and just try something. So inside of our content, I'm gonna go ahead and say on change maybe, and then let's go ahead and say on select date change or something like that, or select date change. Sure. So let's go ahead and copy this, and let's go ahead and make a new function. So we'll go ahead, const, and then select date change. Do this react dot change event on an HTML input element. And let's just see what we can get here. So let's console.log e.target.value and just see what this looks like, see if it returns a date. So if we go ahead and click on this and click on 13, so it looks like it's just printing a date. So what if we do this? Let's go ahead and say let d for selected dates equal to any, and then e.target dot, and then this will be value. And then what we'll do is let's go ahead and try to say let d equal to new date, and then pass in selected date. And let's see if we can console.log the d. Let's see if this one works. Let's hop in here. Let's try this again. Let's change it to this. So we did get December 14, 2023, and then Central Time Zone. So that's going to be the wave. So we got a date. So now we're going to say let date copy equal to new date. And then we're going to say schedule date in here like we did before. And then we're going to say date copy. And I have done this so many times. Date copy dot set, and first we'll set month, I guess. So set month to d dot get month. So we'll set it to whatever month that we passed. We'll say date copy dot set date, and then this will be d dot get date. And then finally, well, sometimes this isn't the order that people do, but whatever, date dot set year, and then this will be, I guess, fine, c dot get full year. And then let's go ahead, whoops, go ahead and say set schedule date. So schedule date, and then this is going to be date copy. Okay, so now if we select something, it should update it, fingers crossed. So I'm calling the dispatcher instead of the correct thing. There we go. Let's try again. Let's see what happens now if we pop this open, and let's just grab this and let's say this. So January 12th, was that? So that says February. So why is it off a month? So for some reason, the month is scuffed, which is interesting. So if we change month in this, what happens? So we just say schedule date.get month. I know that this is broke. This was like scuffed before, but let's just see what happens if we do this. So if we refresh and open this up. So yeah, it says November, but if we click on January 1st, okay, this is off a day. That breaks it, interestingly, because it probably goes to 0. So if we say +1, if we go ahead and say 21st, so now this is off 1, even though I clicked on the 21st for some reason. But what if we go in here? So January 3rd, okay, and February 1st. So this is a little bit strange, but I'm guessing it has something to do with this. I'm not worried about the get full year because it seems to be working. Well, if we say +1 on that one and +1 on this one, although we seem to have fixed that. I don't know if I want to put a +1 on get date because I think that's going to scuff other things. But now if we take a peek and we refresh and we do this, now we say January 4th, 2024. If we come back up here, now that breaks, but we go December 13, 2023. That seems like it's working. 12 p.m. It's mad at us for doing some stuff, but I don't really care. It should still be working. And I don't know what undefined was, but whatever. And I'm surprised. Oh, you know what? It's because we probably want to do that. We probably want to go ahead and copy this and then also dispatch whenever we make the change. So let's go ahead and do we want to dispatch schedule date there? Do we want to dispatch date copy? Actually, I'm going to go ahead and dispatch date copy because that's going to be more up to date at that point. And I'm going to do the same thing here. And I'm surprised it just now complained about it. That's an issue that I've known about for a while. And I'm just going to ignore it because technically you're not supposed to have a serializable thing in there. So if we go ahead and say, okay, let's go to the 4th, it's going to complain, but it should be fine. And let's actually check Redux really quick. So we click on Redux and go up. Our current post should have a schedule date of this. Now it might look scuffed, but I think it's just a time zone thing that I realized last time. Yeah, it's just a time zone thing, so that's perfectly fine. That is good to go, I think, and I think that we can move on. So I have an idea for this modal. And if we go and click confirm, let's just make sure inside of our post still that it still shows that if we go to state and we go into post and then scroll down to a current post, let's just make sure that it still says, yep, scheduled date is still set. And then if we find scheduled is true. So that's working fine. I'm not worried about that. This resets though. So we might need to update this at one point. I'm not going to do it right now. So this part is a lot smaller. So I think what we want to go ahead and do is hop into our code, and then we want to hop into our bottomless modal. So bottomless modal.css, and the modal box currently has a height of this. So I think what I want to go ahead and do is I want to say height is fit content, basically. Fit content, and then a max height. And I forgot what the height was already, 650. So let's make this actually max height is 650. And then we'll also say height is fit content. I don't know if this is going to work, but let's just go ahead and see. So this should still work for the GIFs, I hope, and then should get smaller, or it won't get smaller. Back in our code, we need to go into our bottomless modal content, and this also needs to be max height 600 px, and then fit the actual height. Whoops. Height will be fit dash content. We're kind of all over in this video or in this stream. We're just kind of trying to get as much things done here. So if I click on this now, that looks a lot better, and that looks pretty darn close. The only other thing that I can mention is that's really thick. On Twitter, it's actually like 400 px or 400 font weight. So I can close out of this. Inside of this CSS, wherever we have our scheduled post, font weight should be like 400 because it's not that thick. And I think that I'm happy with this now. This looks pretty darn good. So that's good to go. So now the thing I don't really love the idea of doing is the emojis. So I don't know how we're gonna do most recently used, and maybe we won't. But what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna go to find some sort of a JSON of all the different emojis that exist, and hopefully they're grouped together in these smileys and people and yada 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 that I'm looking at. So I think this is what we want. Category, smileys, and emotion. So these are all fine. Trying to see where the modifiers are here. Control find, paste. Okay, so they do exist. They're just way down underneath everything. So that's cool. I think we might be okay with this one. I think this one has everything we need. So let's go ahead and download this massive JSON and see what we can do with it. Yeah, so go ahead and download this raw list with modifiers.json, and let's go ahead and go into our, I think it's in my desktop. So desktop, let's build Twitter, front end, and then we'll go into public. Do we want public, or we need to go, let's go source assets and save it in there. We need to break these into 8 sections. So we need smileys and people, animals and nature, food and drink, activity, travel and places, objects, symbols, and flags. So we need to basically go through and determine all of those. We want people and body, and we want smileys and emotion in one category. We're gonna probably need a util for this. So I'm gonna go into our utils, and I'm gonna make a new folder or a new file. I'm gonna call this emoji util. So emoji utils.ts. I don't think we're gonna go ahead and return new tsx. Let's go ahead and export const, and it will generate smileys and people. And I don't know what the problem with this is, although other than this, and this will just be a string array, I guess. So string array, because that's all it is. It's just, actually it'll technically be a character array, but it is what it is, I suppose. It'll be interesting to see if we can get this to work, but let's just return this for now, just to make it stop complaining. Import data from /assets/ and then can we even do this? I don't even see it in here. I guess it is right there. We need to make a drop down to display this. So I guess let's just go ahead and make the drop down. Actually, this is going to be a global one. I'm going to put in components, new folder. I'm going to call this emoji drop down, new file, emoji, whoops, emoji drop down.tsx. I can't type, tsx, and then go ahead and import React from React. I cannot type today, oh my goodness. And let's also import the, I forget what this is called, generate smileys and people. Let's go ahead and import this. So emoji dropdown, import this from dot dot slash, and it's going to come from utils slash, and then it's going to be emoji utils. Let's export const, and we'll export emoji drop down is a react.fc. This is probably going to take in some sort of callback function just with the general way this is, but I'll deal with that later. And let's just go ahead and return a fragment for now. I don't really care what this does because all I want to do is to have a use effect here, use effect, and I just want it to go ahead and whenever it opens, I just want to do this and do this, and I just want to call generate smileys and people whenever we call it. That way I can go ahead and see what the emojis thing looks like just to make sure it's doing what it's supposed to. So let's go into our feed post creator. So feed components and then feed post creator, and again, so this is going to go under emojis. So all I'm just going to do is this, and this is going to break literally everything. So maybe I add it somewhere else, like at the bottom here. I'm just going to add it here, and I'm going to say emoji drop down because this is going to absolutely scuff everything. But when you say const emojis is equal to data dot, okay, never mind, it just already knows what it is, so I'm just dumb. Let's say data.emojis, and then we can console.log emojis. So let's just see what this looks like. This is going to be really ugly inside of Twitter. Oh, maybe it's not because it's nothing. So if we inspect console, we should see, yep, a massive list. So cool, that worked. That wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. We can say that our const, and we can just straight up return this, but we'll say const smileys and people are equal to emojis dot filter, and we're gonna go ahead and say that emoji if emoji dot category is equal to this, or emoji, we just don't even do the if, I don't think, emoji dot category is equal to this. So if it's equal to smileys and emotion, or it's equal to, I think it's like people and something, so we'll say it's people and body. So these are the two that we want, and the people and body are the one that's going to have a bunch of other ones. And then let's go ahead and let's just console.log our smileys and people, I guess. So we have 2,314, and the end one should be, yep, so the different skin tones. So let's go ahead and return smileys and people and paste it in there. So filter, and then we'll say dot map the emoji again, and we want to return the emoji dot code. Emoji is a string. What happens if we do that and save? What does this look like? Console.log smileys and people. What does it look like when we return emoji.emoji? Okay, so there are a few that don't work, it seems like. And maybe what we do is we just make sure it has support. Let me go in here and test that. So let's say let platform equal to, and we're gonna say window.navigator, maybe navigator dot platform, even though it says not to, and we're gonna say to uppercase, to uppercase, and we're gonna say dot index of, and I'm stealing this from the code, mac greater than equal to 0, greater than equal to 0. Question mark. If that's the case, we'll say Apple. Otherwise, we'll say Windows. And we'll go ahead and say supported. And then if that's the case, we're going to go ahead and say expand this. So let's go ahead and do this. And we're going to make this a little bit uglier. All right. So what we're going to go ahead and do is if this and this, that's fine. And then what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to say let our supported platforms type any equal to emojis dot or emoji dot support, right? And we're going to say and our supported platforms of type supported. We don't have to do this, but I'll add it anyway. If that's the case, we're going to go ahead and return the emoji. So now let's see if this wants to work. And it's still showing unsupported ones for some reason. It definitely got rid of a bunch of them. I'm going to call that better, and then maybe we can whittle out what ones are the issue. I mean, we can definitely tell by just printing them, but it is what it is. So that's smileys and people. So let's go ahead and we need to get rid of this because I was just experimenting. That's probably not going to make the cut anyway. I'm not sure that this is going to stay because it seems like it's not 100% working. So next on Twitter, they got animals and nature. So let's say export const generate animals and nature. Now, of course, we're going to have to probably take in another thing here that says like skin tone to generate the skin tone better, or to generate what skin tone they want. So that'll be interesting. We'll do this. We're gonna go ahead and say let supported equal to this at the top. And we'll just use this across these. And we'll say const animals and nature. This one is gonna be a little bit easier. So this will be equal to emojis dot filter. And then we'll filter emoji. And this one we can just return emoji. Well, actually, yeah, we can say emoji dot category. We can't do this because we need the special thing. So we'll say if emoji dot category is equal to animals and nature. Oops. And our supported platforms, although I never set up supported platforms, we need to do that. So we'll say let supported platforms of type any equal to emoji dot support. This needs to go inside of the filter, so let's fix that so we can use it. So now our supported platforms of supported. So if both of those, then we can go ahead and return the emoji. Otherwise we won't. And then we'll go ahead and dot map this, dot map the emoji, and go ahead and return. We don't need the return, we just need emoji dot, I think it's dot emoji, and then we'll return animals and nature. So there's that, and we'll go ahead and get rid of that console.log. If we want to, we could console.log animals and nature, but I kind of trust that it's working. After animals and nature, we have food and drink. So let's just see what food and drink has in store for us. Let's go ahead and say export const generate food and drink equal to, and do that, and then const food and drink is equal to emojis dot filter. We'll filter the emoji, and we'll have to do the same thing once again. Whoops, fix that. So we'll say let supported platforms any equal to emoji dot support. And I might in between episodes do a little bit of research on how to do this a little bit better, but we'll see. So if emoji dot, and then category is equal to, and this one is food and drink. It's a little bit dangerous not actually testing these, but whatever. YOLO supported platforms, and then supported. We might want to throw the true on here just to be safe. Just make sure those are equal to true. And if this is the case, we'll go ahead and return the emoji. We'll also go ahead and map this. So dot map, and we'll dot map the emoji. We'll actually need to do this emoji, and we'll return the emoji. And we need to return food and drink. After food and drink, we have activity. So let's say export const generate activities equal to, and then this one will say const activities. This one looks about right based on what I'm seeing. Emojis dot filter. Whoops. I could type filter emoji. Do this, and then let supported platforms equal to type any. And this is obviously getting redundant at this point, so I want a better way to deal with this part, but for now it's fine. If emoji dot category is equal to activities and supported platforms supported is equal to true. If that's the case, we return the emoji. And then otherwise we'll dot map, and then we'll dot map through the emoji and return emoji dot emoji. We'll return our activities. So next is travel and places. So export const travel and places. Const travel and places is equal to emojis dot filter out emoji, and we'll say let supported platforms of type any equal to emoji dot support. And then if our emoji dot category is equal to travel and places, and our supported platforms type supported is equal to true, we want to return the emoji. And then we'll go ahead and dot map, and here we'll have emoji. If I could do this properly, and honestly this is probably a waste of time. I probably need to do this. Probably could have figured out some other easier way to do this, but I kind of want to have the different things because it's already broken down into different categories in Java or in Twitter. So next one is objects, and we're almost done. So export const, this should be, whoops, generate travel and places, generate objects. This is probably going to take forever to run this, and that's kind of terrifying as well. So const, and let's also make sure we return this. So return travel and whoops and places. Okay, const, and this one would be objects. Hopefully that's legal. I think it is. Equal to emojis dot filter emoji, and then we'll say if, actually we'll say let, and then supported platforms of type any equal to emoji dot support. And then if our emoji dot category is equal to objects and our supported platforms of supported is equal to true. If this is the case, we'll return the emoji, and then we'll dot map each emoji, and we'll return emoji dot emoji and return the objects array. I think there's only one more left. Let's double check. Well, there's two more. Next one is symbols. So export const generate symbols. I feel like I'm probably missing some, but whatever. Equal to, and then say const symbols equal to emoji dot filter emoji. Let supported platforms type any equal to emoji dot support, and if our emoji dot category is equal to symbols and our supported platforms of supported is equal to true, we'll go ahead and return emoji, and then we'll dot map that to transform it, and we'll map emoji, and we'll return emoji dot emoji and return emoji. Actually, we want to return symbols, my bad, return symbols. And finally, the last one is export const generate flags. So generate flags, say const flags equal to emojis dot filter, filter by the emoji, and then let supported platforms type any equal to emoji dot support, not subcategory, support, and then if our emoji dot category, I'm guessing it's equal to flags, but I'll double check that, and supported platforms of type support, supported is equal to true. So we get all of those. Then we'll go ahead and return the emoji from being filtered, and then we'll dot map it one last time, transformed into strings, emoji, and then emoji dot emoji, and then return flags. So I think that's going to be it. Unfortunately, that's going to be it for today. If you guys enjoyed, please stick around for the next episode by hitting that subscribe button. You'll know exactly when it comes out, especially with that bell icon. If you did enjoy the content today, please sure to leave a thumbs up. If you did enjoy it, leave a thumbs down. Either way, it helps out with the algorithm all the same. And finally, if you have any suggestions or feedback for me, make sure you leave a comment down below. With that being said, I appreciate you all for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode. Peace out, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.